Good evening, I'm Mark Ivy. Welcome to the latest edition of Kernels from the Cornfield. No husk, no hulls, no shucks. News with a dash of commentary to spice up your daily fare for Wednesday, April 2nd, 2014. A lot of buzz going around the internet today, and even with the mainstream media, about the Supreme Court striking down limits on campaign contributions across the board. Now, this does not affect the limit to an individual campaign that you can give, but a person now has the ability to give to every campaign they want to during an election cycle and only be bound by that individual limit to that particular campaign. In other words, if someone wants to go ahead and put in a campaign contribution for all 435 campaigns of congressmen and congresswomen up for re-election this year, they can do it. And all the senators that are up for re-election. And they're only bound by that individual limit per campaign. But they can do them all. Of course, there's some grumbling that means now that those with money are going to have a greater say in what decisions our country will make. Myself, I think that that's sort of not exactly hidden where the real problem lies. It's not whether or not those with money have more influence. It's whether we, the voters, are going to allow those with the purse to actually control our nation. Those with money only have sway when voters are uninformed by choice. Vote only by party, by choice. Vote simply based on the latest soundbite they heard, again by choice. The fault lies with the voters giving up control by not being informed and choosing the best candidate, no matter the party or ideology. Those with money win only when the voters cede that power, which sadly is what is and has happened. You can take away the power of money by becoming an informed voter and voting based on knowledge. Sad news last night with reports that an 8.2 on the Richter scale earthquake hit off the coast of Chile. 8 deaths have been attributed to the earthquake so far. Tsunami warnings were issued up and down South American coastline, and it's even as far north as Hawaii and California. Seismologists, though, say that the last night's earthquake in Chile was unrelated to the La Habra, California earthquake over the weekend. Our thoughts and prayers are with the victims and those families who lost loved ones in this latest natural disaster. Continue praying for those families out in Washington State who have lost their loved ones, their homes, their memories due to another natural disaster when the mud came sliding down through the valley last week. We didn't get an answer today to the question of what value do you place on a human life, even though GM CEO Mary Barra was back before a committee of Congress to answer questions. Yesterday, it was in the House of Representatives. Today, she spoke before the Senate. But again, she never answered the question of what value do you place on a human life. We have learned that the part that was defective was only a 56-cent part. 56 cents. Are we to understand from that GM, as well as the indifference of government inspectors who failed to follow through in 2007 and again in 2010, that the value they put on the human life was all about 56 cents? There is no justification for this. None whatsoever. So, Miss Barra, we know you've apologized to the individual families, and I heard one family member today speak on Newsday, and she said that she was not happy, nor did she accept your apology, and did not feel that it was heartfelt. So tell us, Miss Barra, what value do you place on a human life? Is it only 56 cents? Breaking news right now coming in. Here to the Cornfield, there's an active shooter on base at Fort Hood, Texas. If you recall, it was back in 2009 that Major Nadal Hassan betrayed his country, betrayed his oath, and killed 13 people. He has been found guilty of those deaths. Question at this time is this another act of terrorism? Or is this someone who is simply snapped? Or something else going on? This is still active right now, and we don't know what's going on. But let us pray for the families. Let us pray for our military. And let us hope this is not another act of terrorism like that of the vile and the evil Major Nada Hassan. Equality for long-term same-gender couples seems to be moving forward steadily to becoming a reality throughout the United States in all 50 states. Expect the various appeals court districts across the country to uphold the rulings which have found laws in Utah, Texas, Oklahoma, Virginia, Kentucky, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, and other states in recent months denying equality unconstitutional. Should the appeals courts split, the issue will most likely land before the Supreme Court as early as the next term, which starts in October. What is for certain is that the dominoes are falling and there's no way to stop them. Equality is the American way. Well, that's what's going on from here in the Cornfield on this Wednesday, April the 2nd, 2014. Have a good evening and join me again tomorrow for another edition of Kernels from the Cornfield. I am Mark Ivy saying good night.